Whether it's daytime or nighttime, high above in the sky or on the ground, there's no other place in the world like New York.
There are easily over 100 things to do in New York, but if you're only here for a few days or even a week, that's way too many things. So in today's video, we're going to go over the top 20 things to do in New York City.
And number 20 on our list is the High Line. Located on the west side of Manhattan and stretching from the Meatpacking District to Hudson Yards, the High Line is an elevated park with over 400 different types of plants and trees with wonderful views of the city. Built on old railroad tracks, the park is almost 1.5 miles long. Along your walk, you'll see many pieces of public art in addition to elevated views of the Meatpacking District, Chelsea, and the west side of Manhattan. The park first opened in 2009 and now has over 8 million visitors a year. It has had a major impact on the development of the area that it runs through, which is mainly Chelsea. While the park starts on Gansevoort Street in the Meatpacking District, there are several entry and exit points along the way, so you can walk as long or as short as you want. If you do decide to go to the High Line, make sure you visit the 10th Avenue Overlook, which is a great spot to sit and relax right above the traffic on 10th Avenue. And number 19 is the incredible Sky Reflector-Net. A true hidden gem in New York City and one of my favorite pieces of art is the Sky Reflector-Net at the Fulton Transit Center. Built in 2014 and designed by James Carpenter, the integrated artwork uses 952 aluminum panels to bring natural light into the entire center. Not only is the structure a work of art, it reduces energy consumption by 30% and is a daily reminder for all New Yorkers about the resiliency of the city. The Fulton Street Center itself was built after the 9/11 attacks in an effort to rebuild and revitalize Lower Manhattan. It is the only skylight in the entire New York City subway system. The structure is also just a few blocks away from One World Trade, and it should definitely be on your list on your New York visit. The Fulton Center is located at 200 Broadway, just a couple of blocks east of One World Trade. And number 18 is the Whitney Museum of American Art. The Whitney was founded in 1930 by Gertrude Vanderbilt Whitney, who was a socialite as well as an American sculptor. The Whitney focuses on collecting and preserving 20th and 21st century American art. The museum was started by Whitney after her collection of American art was rejected by the Museum of Modern Art. The museum only focuses on American art and places an emphasis on living artists, which is very different than other larger museums, making the Whitney a very important art institution. The museum has a collection of over 25,000 works by more than 3,600 artists and features the world's largest collection of works by the famous American artist Edward Hopper, who also lived in New York's Greenwich Village. Its collection includes paintings, sculptures, drawings, prints, photographs, films, videos, and digital art. The museum has multiple floors of outdoor space and great views of the West Side and the Meatpacking District. The museum is located at 99 Gansevoort Street, right next to number 20 on our list, the High Line. Do note that all tickets are timed in order to control the number of visitors in the museum, so pick a time when you would like to go. In addition, admission is free for anyone under 25. Admission is also free on Friday nights from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. And on the second Sunday of every month, admission is free all day for everyone, making one of the best bargains in New York. It was once the economic engine that powered New York and brought the city to international prominence. It's the place that made New York, New York. And number 17 on our list is Wall Street. While it used to dominate New York's economy, these days, Wall Street and the financial industry makes up a lot less of New York's GDP, but Wall Street and what it symbolizes is still a vital part of not only the city, but American culture. Wall Street is not really an industry, but it is synonymous with the New York Stock Exchange and the US capital markets. And while some of the biggest companies in the world are now listed at its rival, the Nasdaq, having a company go public at the NYC is still a major accomplishment, and for many entrepreneurs, the pinnacle of the American dream. While the exchange no longer offers tours of its trading floors, you can still see the main buildings, which are located at 18 Broad Street and 11 Wall Street. And while you're there, you can take a photo with the Fearless Girl, a bronze sculpture by Kristen Visbal, who faces directly at the building. Nearby is also the Charging Bull, the iconic sculpture by Arturo de Modica, which is located on Broadway just a few blocks south of Wall Street. And if you happen to be there during the holidays, the Christmas tree on Wall Street is, in my opinion, the best one in the city, because of the light sparkle and you can get very close to the tree, unlike the one at Rockefeller Center. Another fun event there is the tree lighting ceremony. If you want the best views of the city, you'll have to go to Brooklyn. And number 16 on our list is Brooklyn Bridge Park. Located just across the East River, the 85-acre park has stunning views of the Brooklyn Bridge, the Manhattan Bridge, One World Trade, and downtown Manhattan. There are many parts of the park that have great views, including Pebble Beach, where tourists and locals like to sit and watch the sunset, Squid Park Bridge, which is an elevated pedestrian bridge with great views of One World Trade and downtown Manhattan. There's also Jane's Carousel, the Manhattan Bridge Lookout, and on top of the Empire Stores is one of the best spots in the park to see the Manhattan skyline. And nearby on Washington Street in Dumbo is one of the most popular photo spots in New York. Brooklyn Bridge Park is easy to get to from Manhattan. You can reach the park by walking over the Brooklyn or the Manhattan Bridge. By subway, you can take the A or C to High Street, 2 or 3 to Clark Street, or the F to York Street. And if you want to take a longer but more scenic route, you can take the B, D, or Q train, which goes over the Manhattan Bridge to the DeKalb Avenue stop in Brooklyn. While there are many iconic foods in the city, a New York bagel is definitely one of the top 2 New York City foods that should be on your list. Whether it's the recipes that are centuries old from Europe, or the unique multi-step preparation, or even our tap water, there's something special about a New York bagel. The perfect New York bagel is crispy, chewy, dense, firm, and flavorful. It's a unique combination that's hard to describe, so you just have to try one for yourself. But you can't just randomly get a bagel from just anywhere in New York. Like any other food, some places are definitely better than others. I wouldn't recommend getting one from the corner deli or some random food cart. I know from experience that those are going to taste more like old bread than an authentic New York bagel. The good news is there are many places in New York that make great bagels. I must have eaten a few thousand bagels in my life, and if I was a tourist in New York, I would start every day with a bagel. You can get a bagel with all kinds of fancy toppings, but I usually just get one not toasted and with plain cream cheese. Some of my favorite places that I recommend are Apollo Bagels, Thompson Square Bagels, Brooklyn Bagel, Pop-Up Bagels, and Liberty Bagels. All these bagel shops have a few locations around the city, making it easy to find one near where you're staying. And number 14 is New York's West Village. Located in the southwest portion of Manhattan and right next to Greenwich Village, the historic neighborhood has inspired many writers and artists throughout the years. It might be New York's perfect neighborhood, with beautiful brownstones and tree-lined streets. There are places where the streets are vibrant and full of life, and then there are places where it's peacefully quiet. It has just the right mix of street life, nightlife, and great restaurants. While the TV shows Friends and Sex and the City brought international fame to the neighborhood, it has always been a favorite for native New Yorkers. The area's look and feel hasn't changed too much over the last few decades, mainly because the streets are protected by regulation, and you won't find many new buildings in the neighborhood. Many of the streets have beautiful brownstones that date back to the 19th century. The narrow tree-lined streets and small shops give the area a special neighborhood feel, almost like a little community. The West Village has relaxing cafes, wonderful bakeries, world-class restaurants, as well as great casual dining options. There are also parks, green spaces, and many areas just to sit and relax around the neighborhood. And at night, the neighborhood comes alive with as many bars, great restaurants, and historic jazz clubs. While many parts of the city has changed, the West Village continues to inspire artists, writers, and photographers from all over the world, even drawing in famous residents like Taylor Swift, who once lived on Cornelia Street and wrote a song about the location on her 2019 album, lover. The West Village is a great place to visit, and here are some of my favorite restaurants, bars, and jazz clubs. These include one of New York's top Italian restaurants, Don Angie, the innovative and Michelin-starred Genji Noodle Bar, the historic White Horse Tavern, and local favorite, Arthur's Tavern. New York is home to some of the most important museums in the world, and the American Museum of Natural History is one of them. Located on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, the museum is the 7th most popular in the world, with well over 5 million visitors a year. Founded in 1869, the museum is more than just a place to see interesting exhibits. It's also a world-class research institution, home to over 200 scientists who study everything from dinosaurs to space and climate change. With more than 34 million specimens and cultural artifacts, the collections here are unmatched. The museum has one of the largest collections of real dinosaur fossils in the world, and several of its mounted skeletons include original pieces. And in the Hall of Ocean Life, you'll see a life-size model of a blue whale that's almost 100 feet long. If you're interested in space, there's the Rowe Center for Earth and Space, one of the most comprehensive space museums in the world. Also, don't miss the museum's newest addition, the Richard Gilder Center for Science, Education, and Innovation. The center's cave-like architecture was inspired by natural forms and has close to 4 million specimens in its collection. The museum may be in New York City, but you'll be transported on a journey through our entire known universe. It is a museum like no other in the world. 10 years after one of the most tragic days in America, and certainly the worst one in New York's history, the 9/11 Memorial opened on September 11, 2011. Designed by Michael Rod and Peter Walker, the twin reflecting pools sit on the footprints of the north and south towers of the former World Trade Center. The names of the 2,983 people who perished during that day are engraved all around the two reflecting pools. I was only a few blocks away when it happened, and can still remember how the ground shook when the towers collapsed, so this memorial has special meaning to me. For many years after the event, New Yorkers didn't know if the city would ever recover and how it could move forward. And while I'll never forget that day, the memorial helped the city move on from that tragic event. There are over 400 swamp white oak trees that fill the Memorial Plaza. This particular species of trees is native to the 3 9/11 crash sites in New York, Arlington, Virginia, and Somerset County, Pennsylvania. The Memorial Plaza also includes a single calorie pear tree, also known as a survivor tree, because it was the only tree that survived the attack, with only one branch still showing leaves when it was found buried in the rubble. Also at the plaza is the 9/11 Museum, and you can learn more about the events surrounding that day. And just across the street in nearby Liberty Park, you can see an elevated view of the memorial site with the new One World Trade Center in the background. You'll also see there the Sphere, a bronze sculpture by Fritz Konak, which stood between the original Twin Towers, and it was found intact under the rubble, another survivor of that day. The park also contains the rebuilt St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church, designed by Spanish architect Santiago Calatrava, who also designed the Oculus. The original church was destroyed during 9/11. And if you're here during September 11, you'll see a Tribune Light, the public art installation that projects twin light beams 4 miles into the sky, an annual remembrance of the Twin Towers and the events of that day. And number 11 on our list is Top of the Rock. Since 1933, the open-air observation deck has provided visitors with stunning views of New York City. Top of the Rock is located at 30 Rockefeller Plaza, which is at 50th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue. While other observation decks might be taller, Top of the Rock is better located in the city. Because it's the furthest one uptown, it has the best views of Central Park to the north. And you'll be able to see all the buildings to the south, including the Empire State Building, Summit One Vanderbilt, the Edge, and the World Trade Center. And if you want to go even higher than the main observation deck's 70th floor, you can go another 3 stories higher on the 360-degree revolving skylift. There's also the beam if you want to relive a historic moment. The beam recreates an experience from the 1932 photo launch atop a skyscraper. The beam rises 12 feet above the 69th floor observation deck, and it will spin around where a camera will take a photo of you, recreating that iconic photograph. Once you take in all the views, you can sit and relax with drinks and food from the weather room. Whether you want to see uptown or downtown, Top of the Rock has the best views out of all the observation decks, and it should definitely be on your list for your New York trip. And at number 10 on our list is the Oculus. Designed by Spanish architect Santiago Calatrava, the Oculus is one of the most significant structures built in New York City in the last 50 years. Located right next to the 9/11 memorial site, the Oculus is an architectural masterpiece on the outside and also on the inside. Designed to look like a dove taking flight from the site of the 9/11 attacks, the Oculus represents New York's recovery and rebirth. The design and the building's name also has meaning. The word Oculus is Latin for eye, and it refers to the long narrow skylight that runs along the spine of the roof. On every September 11, the skylight's positioned to align with the sun's angles, illuminating the main concourse with a single beam of light, from 8:46 a.m., the time the first plane struck, to 10:28 a.m., the time the second tower collapsed. The Oculus is more than just a beautiful building. It's a major transportation hub with access to 12 subway lines, as well as the World Trade Center PATH station that connects New York to New Jersey. The Oculus also has many high-end retail stores as well as places to eat, and throughout the year, there are many events and public art exhibits that are held in the Grand Hall. The Oculus is one of New York City's most striking landmarks, and it took 12 years to complete, and since opening in 2016, it has become one of New York's biggest attractions. The Oculus is one of my favorite places in all of New York City. Our next destination is another transportation hub, but this one opened in 1913 and serves over 100 million commuters a year. It is one of the most photographed buildings in the city. And number 9 on our list is Grand Central Terminal. Grand Central connects New York to Westchester, Putnam, and Dutchess County, as well as Connecticut and Long Island. It also has connections to multiple subway and bus lines. In short, it's the entry point for many commuters coming into New York City.
This train will now depart from track 33 on the upper left.
The Beaux Arts building is not only functional, but incredibly beautiful, being described by historians as one of the most majestic buildings in the world. There is artwork all throughout the terminal, highlighted by the celestial mural painting on the barrel vaulted ceilings. And throughout the terminal, you also find Beaux Arts chandeliers. The building is so beautiful that even Apple, which usually designs their own stores, had to open a store here. The main concourse has many features, including the famed information booth that has an opal glass clock, which is accurate to within 1 second every 20 billion years, and it's also valued at over $20 million. On the lower level, you'll find many dining options, as well as the popular Oyster Bar, which has been in operation since the opening of Grand Central Terminal. And certain times of the year, you can capture this magical scene where sunlight comes bursting through the middle window as commuters rush through the terminal, like this photo I took in the fall of 2023. If you like architecture, then Grand Central is a place you'll definitely love.
And at number 8 on our list is Times Square.
Times Square may be crowded, noisy, chaotic, but it is most definitely New York. It has an energy like no other place on planet Earth. You may love it or you may hate it, but you'll certainly never forget it. Times Square has a long and storied history and has been in countless movies and TV shows. It's the one place that's most identified with New York City. In this small but famous area, you'll see bright lights everywhere, street performers, cartoon characters, and way too many souvenir shops. Some might find it tacky and some might find it crazy, but it is absolutely a place you have to visit if you're in New York City. Because Times Square is more than just a place, it really is the crossroads of the world. Over 130 million people step into Times Square annually, and you'll hear languages from every corner of the earth here. Visitors from all over the planet come here to see the heart of New York City. You don't have to spend a lot of time here, but it's a great place to capture that once-in-a-lifetime photo in a place you'll always remember. Especially if you're here for the New Year's Eve ball drop, which in my opinion should be on everyone's bucket list, because it's truly special to see and experience the incredible confetti drop in person. And at number 7 on our list is getting a slice of New York pizza. There is no other food more synonymous with New York than pizza. If you're in New York, eating a slice is a must-do. Everyone from all over the world, including Italians, come here for the slice of New York pizza. But pizza isn't food geared just for tourists. Pizza is a staple for every New Yorker. The famous scene where Tony Manero ate pizza in Saturday Night Fever wasn't made just for the movies. It's something that happens every day in New York because New Yorkers want something good and cheap while rushing off to their next destination. There are many pizzerias all over the city, and just like with bagel shops, some are good and some aren't so good. And to be honest, the best pizzerias are in Brooklyn, and some of the very best ones are not easy to reach if you're staying in Manhattan. Luckily, there are some good ones in the city as well, like John's Pizzeria in the West Village and Lombardi's in Nolita. But the very best one in Manhattan is Linda Street in the West Village, and that's because Linda Street is from Brooklyn. Linda Street's original branch is in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, but they also have a location on Christopher Street in the West Village. While I think the one in Brooklyn is still better, the one in Manhattan is pretty close, and you won't have to go all the way to Brooklyn. The perfect New York pizza has a crispy but not hard crust, with chewy dough on the inside. The tomato sauce should be tangy and slightly sweet, and the mozzarella should be creamy, dense, and chewy. Not every place will do this right, but you'll be in heaven if you find one that actually does. And at number 6 on our list is Central Park. Many cities and countries have great parks, but there's no place in the world like Central Park. The 843-acre park isn't the biggest in the world, but no other park has been in more movies and films than Central Park. With historic buildings and tall skyscrapers surrounding the edge of the park, its visuals are like no other park in the world. The park draws over 40 million visitors a year from all over the world. Many are drawn to this green oasis in the middle of one of the busiest cities in the world. Throughout the year, the park is regularly visited by tourists and locals alike. The two most popular times are during the spring, when cherry blossoms fill many areas of the park, including the ever-popular Cherry Hill, and also in the fall, when the park is bursting with color. There are so many things to do in the park, from rowboating in the lake, to ice skating at Woolman Rink, and of course, getting that epic photo at Bow Bridge. Of course, you could also do nothing, and just stroll around the iconic park, and take in all the beauty like most New Yorkers do when they're in Central Park. And here are some of my favorite locations at the park. This is from my ebook, A Photography Guide to New York City. These include Cherry Hill, Bow Bridge, and Turtle Pond. You can screenshot this for reference or pick up my ebook, which I've linked below. If you want to come see the park during cherry blossom season, the most likely time is the last couple of weeks of March into the first few days of April. This of course changes year to year depending on the weather. And if you're after fall colors, that would be very late in October into mid-November. My one piece of advice is to go early when the park is most peaceful and you can take all the photos you want before the crowd arrives later in the day, because it does get busy, especially on the weekends. Central Park is also a great starting point before going to our next destination, which is right next to the east side of the park. It has a collection that's so vast that it can never be replicated. It's also one of the most popular and important museums in the world, and number 5 on our list is the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Located on the Upper East Side of Manhattan and right next to Central Park, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, also known as the Met, was founded in 1870. The Met's art collection includes works from Vincent van Gogh, Claude Monet, Johannes Vermeer, and Jackson Pollock. But the Met has more than just paintings. It holds art and artifacts from ancient Egypt, Asia, Italy, Greece, the Middle East, and even have a section dedicated to medieval armor. One of the most impressive things about the Met is how big the museum is, and how each area complements the art that is displayed. The museum itself is a work of art. Whether you want to see Egyptian art, American art, or European sculptures, the area housing these works is designed to look just as beautiful as the art itself. In addition to its permanent collection, the museum also has temporary exhibits, so there is always something new to see at the Met. The museum has a floor space of 2 million square feet and over 1.5 million pieces of art. You can easily spend all day at the Met, and in fact, it actually might take you 2 days if you want to see everything there and take your time. So if you love art, try to get there early as possible, as the museum closes at 5 p.m. on most days, except Friday and Saturday, when it is open till 9 p.m. It was once the tallest building in the world, and the first one to surpass 100 stories, and number 4 on our list is the Empire State Building. Since opening in 1931, the National Historic Landmark has been a symbol of New York City and American architecture. The Art Deco-style skyscraper has been featured in over 250 films and shows, and is one of the most recognizable buildings in the world. It has unobstructed views to the south featuring One World Trade, the east featuring the Chrysler Building, the west side of Manhattan, as well as all the new skyscrapers to the north. There are 2 main observation decks, the open-air one on the 86th floor and the higher but enclosed one on the 102nd floor. I personally like the 86th floor deck more because you're outside and it really feels like you're standing on history when you're overlooking the city high above in the sky. Inside you'll find many exhibits about the history and events surrounding the building. While the building is no longer the tallest in the world, and it doesn't include views of the Empire State Building because you're standing on the building itself, it has easily the most historic feel, and it's a special experience being on the most important building in New York. While the Empire State Building is a symbol of New York, next up on our list is the symbol of America. And number 3 on our list is the Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island. She is a universal symbol of freedom and represents the founding ideals of the United States of America. Since 1886, Lady Liberty has been welcoming the world to America. Your trip to the Statue of Liberty begins with a ferry ride to Liberty Island, where you'll get a great view of Lady Liberty. The ticket to get there is one of New York's best bargains because it includes a visit to Ellis Island, which is another ferry ride from Liberty Island. While seeing Lady Liberty up close is an incredible experience, Ellis Island is just as fascinating. There you'll learn about the history of immigration in this country and how New York and America was shaped by immigrants seeking freedom and opportunity in the New World. You'll see where and why certain ethnic groups settled in New York City and how they shaped downtown neighborhoods like the Lower East Side and why New York has the best bagels in America. Tickets should only be bought from Statue City Cruises, which is the only authorized seller of tickets to the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island. I provided a link to make sure you're at the right site. You notice that ticket costs are approximately all the same. Ticket prices for the Crown or Pedestal are exactly the same. And for general admission, you only save 30 cents. The big difference between the tickets is availability. The Crown usually sells out months in advance. The Pedestal usually has tickets available, although certain times during the day it may be sold out. The general admission ticket is the easiest to get, and you can get one even on the same day. So if you're definitely coming to New York, you should book as soon as you can, because if all the tickets cost the same, you might as well try to get the Crown Reserve tickets, which will allow you to go all the way to the top of Lady Liberty. There's a lot to see and do, and you can easily spend all day visiting the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island. So you may want to get there early, especially if the weather's warm, because the lines to board the ferry can be very long later in the day. Also note that even if you have a ticket for the ferry at 1 o'clock, it doesn't mean you'll actually board the ferry at 1 o'clock. It just depends how long the lines are at the moment and what time you get there. Visiting the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island will be one of the most memorable things you'll do in New York. And once your visit is over, you'll also be treated to great views of Lower Manhattan on your way back to New York City. Its design was so ambitious, they weren't sure it would actually stand. the engineering marvel united the city of Brooklyn and Manhattan into one. And number 2 on our list is the Brooklyn Bridge. One of the greatest bridges in the world, opened in 1883 and changed New York forever. 14 years after its opening, the city of Brooklyn and Manhattan merged into one. Since then, the Brooklyn Bridge has been in numerous movies and shows, but it's not just a pretty face. Over 100,000 people use the bridge daily, and is a vital part of New York's economy. Just like when it was first built, it remains a critical connection between Brooklyn and Manhattan. While you can see the bridge from many locations around the city, walking on the bridge is a special experience. There really is nothing else like it in the world. The bridge's wood planks, mesmerizing cables, and Gothic stone towers will magically bring you back in time. Along your walk, you'll see many of New York's icons, including the Manhattan Bridge, Empire State Building, the World Trade Center, and you also see the Statue of Liberty in the distance. Walking early in the day will be less crowded, but during sunset, you'll get a chance to see the city light up during your walk, and it'll just be more special. And once you step onto the bridge, you'll understand why everyone wants to walk the Brooklyn Bridge. It's a memory I guarantee you'll never forget. Incredible costumes, spectacular sets, and mesmerizing choreography are just a few reasons why your New York trip isn't complete without seeing one of these productions.
And at number 1 on our list is to watch a Broadway show.
While there are many great musicals around the world, there's nothing like a Broadway show. The performance on Broadway are the best of the best, and the production of the musicals is world class. If you can only do one thing in New York, this should be it. Broadway is the heart and soul of New York's culture. While ticket prices for certain shows like Hamilton can be very expensive, there are a few ways to keep your costs down if you're flexible with which shows you want to watch and at what time. One of the ways is Broadway Week, which occurs twice a year, and you can get 2-for-1 deals, with each ticket being 50% off. You can also use a ticket lottery, where you can get discounted tickets if you enter and win. Another way is to use the TKTS booth at Times Square, where you can get discounted same day or next day tickets. If you want to learn more about getting discounted tickets, you can watch my video, Top 14 Things to Know Before Going to New York City, which I've linked below. And if it is your first time watching a show, getting a ticket at the TKTS booth might be the easiest, since there is always something available and you won't have to plan in advance. And if you're worried about picking the right one to watch, don't worry. I've seen many musicals and I've never been disappointed. So enjoy your show, and if you want to know more about New York, watch these videos next.